Mike Duhamel from Blast.
Great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us, I should say. Well, I guess if y'all are going to only retain 40% of what I said after Spence got off, I've got about 9% left, I guess, in the tank, so hopefully it's a good one. My name is Mike Duhamel. I'm the Key Account Manager with BlastMotion. We also have Michael Fox here with us today, our Channel Manager for the golf product. A little background on me. Like most of you, I'm a PGA professional of Canada, so if my accent gets a little out of control while I'm up here, please forgive me. I've been a Class A professional for 17 years now, since 2000. I had my own coaching company before I started with Blast, so I very much come from a playing and a coaching background. I had a Mike Duhamel Performance Golf before I started with Blast. My primary function was around helping junior athletes get to the collegiate level, and then from there to play professionally. So very excited to be here today. Definitely excited to be a sponsor of the section and to be up hearing a lot of great minds talk about how they run their business and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully our role integrating with the technologies to, a lot like Spencer was mentioning, to make your job easier. So a little bit about us. I've got some videos as a part of my presentation today so you guys can get a better understanding of what we do as a whole. So a little bit about us. We're a full-scale technology company, so not just a golf product, but we're in baseball as well. It was a tremendous year for us last year. We became the official bat sensor technology of Major League Baseball. So the same 3D motion sensor that you guys use today for golf is also the same sensor for baseball. It's just changes its profile when you download the free app from the App Store. That sensor itself packs a punch, which we'll go over here in a little bit. We're also the official swing analyzer of the Houston Astros. So 2017 was a pretty big year for the company with them winning a world championship. And on the golf side, we're the official technology of Golf Channel Academies. So we have a relationship with the Golf Channel and their academies with the hardware and the software, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that. So what do we do today? Quick show of hands, I saw a few of you are already, who uses the Blast sensor today in their coaching? Who of you have heard of BlastMotion before today? Cool. So maybe a good story. I met Bob, maybe was our first golf customer 3 years ago. I went down to visit him and spent a few hours with him and his students. And we talked about what the sensor provided from a diagnostic standpoint. And if any of you have any questions around the diagnostic side of the sensor and how it works, we can get into that in a little bit, or you can come and see us outside. But a lot of our messaging around the diagnostic tool is a lot around timing and tempo and the science of motion. And so love being here today to listen to the panel and you guys discuss how you're going about the performance of your athletes and bringing that out in them. And our diagnostic tool with the sensor really helps you do that. But more than that, we wanted a platform that was a complement to the sensor in the app that allowed you to store all this data and video that you're getting from within the app and push that up to the cloud. So we have a technology offering that looks a lot like some other solutions that are out there in the market today, but we have a couple of apps that merge the data up to the cloud. So we've got the sensor and its data going to the cloud. We've also got the video that is taken from within inside of the app with all of your analysis and things like that. That's going up to the cloud. And then we've integrated with a few early partners, first one being BodyTrack. Is anyone using a BodyTrack mat here in their coaching? Not very many. So we built an app for BodyTrack where you can also get your video analysis using the mat and some ground force and pressure data and combine that with video and send it up to the cloud. So it's really a one-stop shop for you to store, manage, analyze, and communicate all under one roof. So we are looking to alleviate some of those stresses that Spencer alluded to earlier as well, with all the time and the energy that you guys are spending communicating and diagnosing off of the lesson tee, and hopefully we can provide some alleviation there. So just a quick video here to show you a little bit about the new golf app that we launched recently, so you can get a look and feel for what that does. So that's our new golf app. The way it connects, I was talking to a few of you outside, it just connects via Bluetooth. So it's a really sophisticated little 3D motion sensor that connects to Bluetooth to a free app in your phone. Some of the things that make the sensor unique are some of the sophisticated things that are mentioned here. I won't go too deep into them, but how many of you are currently using technology to diagnose stroke and swing stuff in your lessons? How many of you are not using technology to diagnose swing and stroke? Okay, so our little sensor here really packs a punch. We've benefited from having a great founder. His name is Michael Bentley. Some of you might have heard of him before, but he's created other systems such as K-Vest, some shaft fitting systems, and he's been in the business for a really long time. He's also a Southern California PGA member as well. But this 3D motion sensor really packs a punch. We've got accelerometers, gyroscopes, and magnetometers in the sensor itself. So from a putting perspective, we give you 11 different metrics. And from a full swing perspective, we're only focused on timing, tempo, and club head speed, combined with video. So even though it captures all these data points, our messaging is quite simple. We have about 250 players using this at a tour level every week, and that data is pouring into our cloud. And so we've been very fortunate to continue to collect this data over the 3 years that we've been in market, and figure out what the most elite players are doing, even at that level, versus the players that are having trouble keeping their tour card. Our biggest mission from day one was to always create a technology that was pushing the industry forward and growing the game. That's where we come from. That is our background, and we want to do our part being on this side, providing some really easy to use, very powerful tools at an affordable price for you all to manage your business and ultimately to take your performance, your athletes' performance, to the next level. A couple of really cool features with the sensor and the way that it communicates to the application is you can capture data in 3 different modes. When it's connected to Bluetooth and you're hitting putts or taking swings, you're getting instant data right away. We call that online mode, for lack of a better term. The second mode is what we call offline mode, where actually the sensor has got a hard drive in it, and if your athletes are out on the golf course playing, they can just turn their phone off and play, and we store all of that data in the sensor. And when you fire the app back up and connect to Bluetooth, all of that data is stored from whatever club you are connected to on the golf course. So it's a really great way to figure out what the athlete's doing from preparation to on the golf course. That was one of the bigger things that we were trying to tackle in the early going, because there was all these systems all over the market that you got to use indoors all the time, and it was fantastic to use indoors to get some feedback. But when you're on a side hill lie and your palms are sweating and you're leading the golf tournament by 2, you're not doing the same thing that you were doing in a controlled environment in the lab. So the sensor gives us a really great idea of what's going on there on the golf course, and you're able to correlate that data between your preparation and what you're doing when the tournament's on the line. we get a lot of questions around our sensor versus other systems. Is anyone, one of the bigger systems is SAM Putt Lab. Is anyone using a SAM Putt Lab? Not many? Cool. So good stuff. You don't need to switch. So our little sensor actually captures motion in 500 frames per second. So you guys have heard that before with cameras in your phone capturing at 240. Well, this little sensor actually looks at motion in 500 frames per second. So it is a great diagnostic tool from an accuracy standpoint. And we compare a lot to other systems because we provide the same measurements to like a SAM Putt Lab, which is an $8,000 or $10,000 system. And this little thing costs you 125 bucks, so it's a little bit of a different ball game. But from a diagnostic standpoint, it's incredibly accurate, both for full swing and for putting. And for us, when we started looking at what type of measurements we want to provide, we wanted to be very different, a lot in the way that we think about the golf swing or the putting stroke ourselves as coaches. And for us, it's really about understanding motion and what is going on with that athlete's motion and the cause and effect of that. So when we look at players, whether they're 5 years old or some of the best players in the world, when they come in to see us, we look at one thing. They've got a mass down here and they're holding it with their hands and they're trying to move that mass. So they're applying force. And that's ultimately what we're doing as golf professionals, is trying to figure out how these athletes apply force. And so what the sensor measures is timing and tempo. Who has mentioned the word tempo before or teaches around tempo in their golf instruction? How many of you? How do you talk about it? How would you talk about tempo? Yeah.
I don't know, like a saying they can say to themselves for timing.
Yeah. How about you? How would you describe tempo or talk about tempo in a lesson setting?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're counting 1, 2, 3.
Anyone use a metronome or anything like that? Cool. So in our messaging, we're really trying to get across the difference between timing, tempo, and rhythm, and they're very different things. And for the first time, I think, maybe in the history of golf, we're able to actually teach it. A lot of times, I know when I was teaching, it was a lot around, well, maybe you want to feel this. Well, that human being is very, very different from this human being, and I can't really tell them how to feel something. That's very hard. And so I think that's a lot of the secret sauce around when we're diagnosing either golf swings or short game or putting strokes. Maybe we see it in our eyes, it's a little slower, it's a little fast, or transition is jerky, or we have all these different terms for it. And all that is motion. You guys are diagnosing motion and how that person applies force. And we're trying to really simplify that. So tempo, all tempo really is the relationship of time. That's all tempo is. It's a relationship of backstroke time and forward stroke time, or backswing time and downswing time. It's a clock in seconds. So you start the clock the minute the club gets taken away. You stop the clock the moment it makes impact with the golf ball. The relationship of those two times is what tempo actually is. Rhythm is something that happens between those 3 points. So how you apply force, this object that you have in your hand, or hands, or no hands for that matter, has a mass to it. So force is just mass times acceleration over time. So how are you moving that mass between A and B and C? And how is your body reacting to the force that you're creating, or the load that you're putting on your body, etc.? So time is a really great way to diagnose a lot of things that we talk about today, especially these static positions, attack angle and face angle and path, and these sorts of terms that we use every day in diagnosing motion. Those things are happening within time. So it's really important to understand what that athlete is doing in the time frame that they're doing it, So you can capture some parameters of what they're doing today. And built into the app, we have 100 free videos inside of the app that tell you certain parameters of where you might want to take a person depending on the philosophies in the room. But working with the best players in the world and capturing their data, there's definitely some similar patterns between what the most elite players in the world do and what the players who are struggling don't do. Has anyone heard about what's a full swing tempo? Has anyone heard of, anyone hear a figure? 3 to 1? Yeah. What about short game? 2 to 1, right? Anyone read Tour Tempo or read any Chuck or Novosel stuff? Tempo is really, really important. Would anyone disagree here that time or tempo or rhythm is kind of the glue that holds the whole machine together? It's pretty important, right? So if we can measure it, that's extremely valuable. More valuable than that if we can get baseline numbers for that athlete or those athletes and then be able to store that data over time and understand how that player is improving or progressing based on the drills that we prescribe for them or some of the things that we're doing to assess their movement patterns. We can keep an eye on that over time, and that's all stored in the cloud. So this is what we call Blast Connect. It's our cloud-based platform. And rather than you guys listening to me yak about it, I figured we can just show you a video.
Golf Channel Academy has partnered with BlastMotion, delivering the most complete improvement solution in golf, saving you time while growing revenue. Blast Connect is a robust coaching software that complements the Blast sensor and app. It offers a powerful suite of coaching, communication, analysis, and management tools that allows athletes and coaches to train smarter and get better. By integrating performance data with video analytics, Blast Connect clearly defines trends in performance. This technology enables athletes and coaches to develop a plan and maximize potential. The software also delivers an efficient system to organize, prescribe, and schedule workouts and practices, holding students accountable while making coaches more efficient in their communication and delivery. Your online portal is fully customizable, creating a recognizable look that is an extension of your brand. Through stats tracking and strokes gained statistics, Blast Connect allows players and coaches to analyze all aspects of their game, improving overall performance. Take your business to the next level with the Blast Total Improvement Solution.
So our goal with this platform, again, is to be a great marriage between the sensor storing that data, but also giving you some more tools within this platform to run your business on a daily basis. Some of the cool things that it does is it allows you to create practice plans, and when your athletes or your parents are able to access this stuff through apps, we believe it keeps them engaged. I know the guys at Edufy do as well. How many people here feel like they're not using enough technology in their coaching? How many feel like they're using too much? It's a fine line. It really is a fine line, right? I think that customers nowadays, regardless of whether they're golf customers or not, they're just consumers, and I think they're getting smarter, they're getting more savvy. And I think a lot of the times when they come to us for golf instruction, I think Bob said it well earlier, they're looking to be developed. It's not necessarily their golf skills, but maybe more so how they're progressing through long-term athletic development, I think is hugely important. I think if people are not seeing value in the money that they're paying you, then they might go shopping elsewhere. So I think that these sorts of technologies are really important to help you not only grow the game at your facility, but give people options and get them coming back time and time again. How many of you are still coaching lessons in hour blocks? How many still do individual one-on-one hour lessons? How many of you work with a team? How many of you work with Somebody who works on the physical side, on the mental side. How many of you are working in teams? A few of you. I think one thing that I'm recognizing, being able to go across the country and be fortunate enough to speak to thousands of golf professionals, is that everyone's trying to navigate the same waters. I think that everyone's trying to figure out whether they're doing too much or too little, they're trying to understand the customer. And we do the same thing on the technology side. We try and figure out why they're leaving or why they're coming and what they're doing when they're in here and how long they're staying and what's the value of each customer. And I think that you guys are adapting to do that on the fly as well. I've already talked to a few professionals this morning that are trying to figure out how to merge systems with others. Pretty overwhelmed to think about they got all this stuff over here in bucket A and then they're trying to transfer stuff to bucket B. So we definitely understand where you guys are coming from. We have a great in-house team. When I started with Blast 3 years ago, we had 13 people in the company, and now we're up to 73 or something like that, I think. So we're growing rapidly on the golf team in particular. We have somebody who manages the Blast Connect software for us. We have all the in-house help you need from that perspective, and then we've got guys like myself and Mike that help you kind of implement at the academy and in your lessons. As I mentioned, we're working with a lot of top players today. Over 250 players are using it on a weekly basis with them and their coaches. And we've had great fortune to collect a lot of really valuable data. We don't have any paid endorsements today. Brad Faxon is the first one that came on board with the company. And I think that's primarily why people know us as who knows us, those of you who have heard of us, who would recognize or affiliate us as a putting product? Great. So we do work for every club in the bag. So that timing and tempo mechanism works for every club in the bag. So you can just pop it off of your putter and put it on your wedge and go hit some wedges and short game shots, and then do the same thing, connect it to an iron or a driver. It's just one sensor. You connect it, or you connect via Bluetooth, obviously, very easily. And then you change the club within the app. So it's a very, very easy to use tool and system. And this is why we're all here today. So obviously in the spirit of growing the game, we know that we have to do our part. We're constantly looking to make the tool easier to use, more affordable, as accurate as we possibly get it. And we want to make sure that this guy can go win major championships and trust the tool. And we also want this guy to use the exact same tool and have tons of fun doing it. And that's our goal. To say that we're striving and moving 1,000 miles an hour would be an understatement. We're a full-scale technology company, so we're always introducing new tools to help you guys get better. And our latest tool that we've just come out with is called BlastVision, and it's a $10 portable launch monitor, and it's a free app. So it uses 240 frames in your mobile device, and it calibrates using the phone, and it's a $10 app. So pretty soon in the very near future, rolled into one platform, you'll be able to get all your pre-impact data and all your post-impact data for a pretty affordable price. So this is a sneak peek at BlastVision.
Welcome to BlastVision. This app gives you the ability to visualize the results of your swing simply by using the camera in your phone or tablet. You'll get many key features of a professional launch monitor in the palm of your hands without the expense, and you can use it anywhere. BlastVision analyzes and auto-clips real-time video to provide you with exit velocity, launch angle, and estimated carry distance. You'll have access to ball flight spray charts, real-time feedback, and session reports, helping you to identify important performance trends. Best of all, it's easy to set up, and there's no charge to try it out for the first 2 weeks.
So that's available on the App Store today, BlastVision. If you go to BlastMotion Inc. on the App Store, it has all of our apps that are downloadable there. That is a really cool one. We're already seeing some really tremendous feedback from it. And obviously, if you can work on your timing and tempo and understand how that has an impact on the golf ball, it's really important. Today, measures ball speed, launch angle, and estimated carry distance. And it gives you that data synced with video. So the same thing that our app does where it syncs the data from the sensor, you get the ball data synced on video. So before we finish out, just want to show you a recap of kind of how busy our 2017 year has been, and then we'll open it up to some questions that you guys have.
You'll see how the players have this device on the end of their knob. It's provided by BlastMotion.
There's not a day that goes by where I'm teaching that I don't use a sensor.
It's instant feedback. That's why it makes this the simplest and best product I've ever seen.
My bottom hand is going to continue to take the bat throughout the zone.
In a group setting, everyone is required to have their blast sensor on.
So the BlastMotion top 5 bat speeds so far in the futures game as such.
Welcome back to Chef's Classic Scottsdale.
Yes.
So a pretty special year for us. Heavy emphasis on the baseball side there just because it was such a successful year. I can share a little bit about how baseball and the trajectory that baseball is moving and how it's going to influence golf. Houston Astros were the first one to come on board, and what they did was they made it mandatory in their farm system that every athlete was using a blast sensor. And so now they were the first Major League Baseball team that was drafting players based on their blast data. And we see that going the same direction with golf. We really feel like the data that we're capturing on these young athletes is going to be really imperative to how coaches at the next level are diagnosing and searching what athletes they want to bring into their program. Not just from a performance standpoint, but also from a personality standpoint as well, and how they're adapting to different conditions and those sorts of things. So to add on to that, we also understand our responsibility to educate as well, and so we do have our education certification classes are certified by the national office. So we have currently have a one-day certification that's worth 8 MSR credits. You guys can look at various locations, or if anyone would like to host at their facility, we're more than welcome to entertain that idea. We're based down in Carlsbad, and so we want to do our part to make sure that you guys have the ability to implement this as quickly and as seamlessly as possible, and with minimal investment, and that's really our main goal. Yeah?
Any idea when that'll be available on Android?
It is available on Android.
According to the website.
The Vision app?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How far are we away from?
Probably 2-3 months probably.
Yeah, it's typically when we rolled out our golf product, it was typically 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
They're difficult. Come and see us. Come and see us on the good side. Come and visit us on the good side. It's a lot easier on the good side.
I had one of the original sensors, and when I upgraded to a new Android version, there was a couple months where it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I just kind of lost track.
I want to say the sensor and the app itself are compatible with probably 16 to 18 Android devices.
Just don't know my luck.
I know. Anytime that we come out, applications are really difficult, and entering the Android world would be similar to jumping in the heart of Tokyo and trying to speak that language. There's so many different platforms and so many different devices that speak different languages, and it's hard to build stuff for different platforms, but hopefully soon. But I know you can switch devices in the next few months. Yes?
How many variables is BlastMotion giving us instead of a launch monitor? Like I have 7 in the flight scope, so how many variables?
Right now, the app is providing only 3 to begin with, so it's ball speed, launch angle, and estimated carry distance. We will never do spin. It's incredibly difficult to do 170 miles an hour ball spin at 240 frames. So, but there's a lot that we can learn. There's a lot that we can learn between launch and speed conditions that bring spin into in a narrower focus, for sure. Yes?
When will we be able to purchase them, Mike?
Purchase.
The BlastMotion or the Vision?
Vision is on the App Store.
Go through the BlastMotion already and you just download the app.
Yeah, the Vision, BlastVision app is on the App Store today. So if you type in BlastVision, it's just $10, free 2 weeks. The sensors and stuff we have here to sell, as well as the platform. So if anyone wanted to talk about the platform or the end-to-end solution between the sensors and Blast Connect, please feel free to pop out and see us there. One of our main goals was to, you know, it was funny, 3 years ago was our first PGA show, and we were so revved up to get to our first show and talk to everybody. And we got to Orlando, and everyone started flooding the booth and asking about what we do. And at that time, we just had the sensor and the app. And we said, well, we just got this little wee sensor. It does all these things. It works for wedges and full swing and putting, and it gives you 11 different X with the putter and 5 with the full swing, and more than that with the driver. And I was like, oh, how much? You know, it's $5,000, $10,000. We were like, no, it's $150. And they were like, you guys are absolutely bonkers. It must be just another little toy. But it's been fun to watch the evolution. I think that people are understanding it's 2018, especially you guys are consumers as well, and so you guys are always on the search for what's next. And we hope we're that product, and we're constantly striving to make sure that it's a product that you guys can be successful with, but also build a business off of it as well. So you guys have the opportunity at the Academy or the club to resell these sensors. They would be $100 wholesale for you guys, and they're $150 retail to the students. So we've got a lot of really successful academies and coaches that are implementing both the sensor and Connect as a one-stop shop for all their athletes to go and making a couple bucks in between, so you guys aren't coming out of pocket on the front end. Yes?
As far as your certifications, how much are those cost?
Right now it's $500 for the one-day program, and that includes a sensor. So it's 8 to 5 full-day program, and that's a level 1. We start off with level 1 putting, but we incorporate a lot of full swing, and that focuses on the science of timing and tempo primarily, and then a lot around just how to implement the system. If you come to a certification course, we want you to press play tomorrow morning and be ready to go.
So you say level 1, so are there multiple levels right now?
We will be, yes. We will be scaling to do short game and full swing. When those are, I don't know. We've got a small team that's going to be going international here very soon, so we'll see. Maybe potentially have a level 2 out in the fall, and obviously working with the section to provide as many entry points as we possibly can. We have online webinars that we've done with the section, and hopefully by the end of this quarter, realistically probably April, May, we'll have that level 1 online, so that'll be available online as well. Any other questions?
Mike.
Yes?
I was just going to say, I got to you, Mike came up to my club 4 or 5 months ago, and I mean the biggest thing is you can't understand what it does until you use it. So I would just say go and try it out, because we spent an hour and a half together. It was mind blowing. I mean, just to get biofeedback on something that you don't even know you're doing, or I would say inefficiently or wrong would be an idea of saying it. It was phenomenal. So I would say that the biggest thing is to go and use one.
Yeah, it was fun. We did a putting lesson and a full swing lesson rolled into about an hour time frame. We only focused on backstroke time and forestroke time and why that's so important. And we were able to clean up a lot of the things that were a nemesis of Will's right off the bat. And then also just understanding how your players are going to interpret the data is a huge piece of it as well. So, yes.
Yeah, you did a demo at a teaching thing out in Palm Springs last year, and out on the putting green. Watching it work is way different than, I just think anybody here that hasn't experienced it before isn't getting the full picture from what you did today. I know there's time constraints, but watching it work out on the putting green and realizing the potential is a huge difference.
Yeah, anytime we can demonstrate the product is hugely valuable to us. So as we move forward with the section, we definitely want to get into more scenarios where we're hands-on with it and you guys have access to do that.
I mean, I bought one that day.
and it worked for your Android.
Tell my software to work.
Any other questions? I got one. You know the platform they talked about with the communication with the students. Can you elaborate on how that, compared to like Edify, who's pretty much a communication platform? How about you folks, and how does that integrate? Like they were saying that how we can integrate the technology and then communication with our students and academy.
Yeah, our the Blast Connect platform is. I'll just start off with the price. It's $100 a year for the coach to be in it. So if you had a sensor and Blast Connect, all in is $225 for you to operate throughout the year. I would say what we do on our side, obviously we have data coming in from the sensor. So there's a whole data piece to that as well, aside from the communication. I think what Edify does really, really well is the ability to communicate with multiple coaches and to bring in other members of your team, and or just to communicate with other people that are doing similar things as you do. With Blast Connect, we have kind of some different pieces in the sense of we've got a scheduling tool built in there where you guys could schedule lessons. You can't charge for them, but you can schedule appointments, and you can also build drills and practices. So it's an entire content platform. So you can bring in any file off of your computer. So if you're using another platform, if you're using a TrackMan or a FlightScope or a body track or something like that, you can bring in those files and send it into the player's library. So there's some similarities there. I would say with ours, we're focused a lot on the data, then allowing the data to sort of dictate the communication. So really diagnosing the players, what they're doing, and for the ability for the coach to be an eye in the sky and look at what they're doing. So the athletes can go into Blast Connect, and let's say coach assigned a game for me to play this week. They can go in and mark the score in their game, and the system's keeping track of all that data over time. So if you got kids flying everywhere, bouncing around all over the place, all you would have to do is create the game. You can even bring in a video file of you playing the game or demonstrating the game, and then they can play the game, and we create an academy leaderboard based on that information, as well as there's some strokes gained statistics in there as well if you have players that are wanting to keep track of their rounds, et cetera. So kind of from end to end, from data all the way out to communication, that's what the Blast Connect platform does.
Very good. All right, so we want to thank Blast Mike, both Mikes here, for supporting not only this kind of venue, but also our section. They're a big supporter and sponsor of our section, so let's give them a hand.